This is why we say Renew Church is a missional church. It's a church that exists not just for ourselves. It's a church that exists for the other and for the city and for the world. And it exists for your own good. That's why every week we have ways we're serving our neighbors and ways that you can deepen and grow as we grow together. And so there's a question here. It asks you, as you're called to go, who are you moving toward? What does it mean for God to bless you with your particular life circumstances, your particular education, your particular friendship group, your particular passions or hobbies or pastimes? Some of you can cook. Some of you have an extra hour per week. Some of you get along with children really well. Some of you are just outgoing and you can make friends at the gym or at the office. Some of you are deep thinkers, but using your particular passion and talent. What does it look like to go? Now, let's just admit it right here. If that feels heavy, it should, because it is scary. God's calling is scary and gracious at the same time. God says, go to the land. Go where? I'll show you on the way. Thanks a lot. Go to the land that is unknown. Go to the land that's outside your comfort zone. In Abram's culture, where wealth and security were completely bound to your family and your tribe and your land, God says, leave your family and your tribe and your land, and I'll show you. Trust me. Friends, you will never follow God in this calling unless you can trust him, as he shows himself to be trustworthy to you. What does it mean for you to go? To be a Christian is someone who is having your mentality changed. And so now, as you're doing the calculations of life, you're not simply making decisions based on what's most comfortable or convenient for you. What job gives you the most security and status? But the calling of God reshapes as you ask, where can I be a blessing? What might God be calling me into? What might God be calling me out of? Now, on one hand, friends, I just want to say, by virtue of being a part of a church plant, you're already stepping into the calling to go. So I want to congratulate you. I want to thank you. And I want to acknowledge that we meet God as we go on this journey together. I was talking to another friend who's I would call it a spiritual entrepreneur. He's starting a big ministry in Louisiana. And he's like, it's just hard work being the seed. This church plant is a seed in the ground that will one day grow into a big tree that will give life to many. But right now it's a seed, and it's hard being the seed. But it's part of going. And so every time you welcome someone, every time you care for a child, every piece that you set up and tear down, every place, every chance that you have to serve other neighbors, all of this is part of going. But how are you called to go in your career, in your vocation? How are you called to go in your relationships, in your family? How are you called to go in the school system? Or maybe for some of you right now, the calling to go is actually the invitation for you to get help that you need so you can be in a healthy place to care for others. Maybe your calling is to get into a good therapy, to get into a 12-step program of recovery, to allow God to work on you so that you can be in a place to care for others.